Hey guys, it's me, Kelly. We had a few technical difficulties, but I think we're live on the air now. We're going to find out, aren't we? So I have back one of your favorite guests that you just keep requesting that he comes back, and he's just so gracious that he continues to come back. But we have TruthSeekah here, and we're going to talk about spiritual healing. So say hello to everybody.
Hello, everybody. Thanks for requesting me back on the show. Your podcast has done wonders for me. There's a lot of people reaching out to me wanting information on my music and spirituality and have a lot of questions and stuff like that. So thanks for having me back on.
Oh, it's always a pleasure. This is a really exciting time. I have people write me private messages, and they just tell me how profound the things are that you talk about, how intelligent you are, that you have such a huge knowledge base. They're very, now we're going to get into like spiritual healing and everything and not necessarily into the Bible, unless it pertains to it, but they're very impressed with your knowledge of the Bible. Because they go to church and they're like, I didn't know that.
Oh, yeah.
Like, you know things that we don't know. How is that?
That's one of my big things is really, helping people because they are dealing with a lot of energies and vibrations and things like that, and dreams and ET contact, everything that we talk about when you talk about this stuff around the, religious-minded people, they end up dealing with a lot of condemnation. So that's my big thing is really providing a scriptural basis, because all of this stuff is in the Bible. The people that I've learned from, Patrick Cook, who devoted his life to actually bringing out the spirituality of the Bible, Manly P. Hall, all of these type of guys dealing with syncretism and comparative theology and things like that. So that's my big thing, and that's my passion, to really show you that this stuff is in the Bible and it's in all the other holy books, and it's very normal.
Now, synchronicity. That's something that we just kind of throw that word around a lot, and we talk around it. But what exactly is synchronicity for those who don't quite have a grasp of the concept?
Well, there's a difference between synchronicity and syncretism. So syncretism is basically like comparative theology, is seeing the different strains that kind of flow through all religions and all of the ancient holy books. So that's syncretism, is kind of comparing them and seeing what's similar, rather comparing them to see what's different, as the mainstream majority does. But synchronicity is dealing with what we would call, like a lot of people seeing the number 333 over and over, 1111. So a lot of times it starts out in numbers. You'll just see these number patterns all the time, 12, 12. And so it really takes flight once it moves from being just numbers to concepts and people and conversations and things like that. So basically what synchronicity is the universe guiding you, the universe leading you, or God leading you, and your path is lined out in the stars. It's already mapped out. So once you get on this frequency, once you get on this vibration and you start following these signs, miracles begin to happen. Your destiny begins to unfold. So what we try to teach people is to, when you hear these phrases and these things over and over again, pay attention to what's going on whenever you see them and hear them, and follow them, because it's usually a doorway, and it's also just God just kind of nudging you, letting you know that you're on the right path, kind of like basically laying out breadcrumbs for you. Say, hey, you're going the right in the right direction.
Now, you talk about, and this is almost like a cliche term, it's written in the stars, and there's so many songs that talk about it's written in the stars. So when you talk about, your path is already written in the stars, and then we try to talk about free will. Did we write this pattern in the stars, if you will? Or is this something that was like, okay, you're being forced to do this? Where does free will fall into all of this?
Free will is basically you have the right to choose whatever you do. But understanding that it's written out in the stars is the fact that whatever you do is, you are at liberty to experience that, whatever you want. And so, like, a lot of people will say that, you're straying off the path, so to speak. meaning that if you go down a road that is, kind of detrimental or negative or hard for you, that you're not always positive and things like that, that you're going down this, this path that you're not supposed to be on. But whichever path that you're on right now, you're supposed to be on. Now, you're not supposed to stay on it. You're not supposed to stay there. But so that's the thing with attuning to the highest vibration and what we like to call God's permissible will and God's perfect will. To be in God or the universe, whatever you want to say, perfect will for your life, to be walking in your highest vibration and dealing with all of this stuff so that you can maintain this path, which is already written out, but the path deviates a little bit. It's not like, we're born and then everything is hunky-dory, is beautiful. We do go through a lot of stuff and trials and tribulations, but everything that we go through is done for a purpose to bring us to this place of perfection in our spiritual walk.
That's really awesome. And I want to remind everybody that we do have the question and answer app on. So you can click on there and you can ask questions. The topic is spiritual healing today, and we're going to get to that. Now, spiritual healing, what is it specifically? Is it healing physical ailments using spirituality, or is this kind of healing your inner person, your spiritual side? What is spiritual healing?
It's a little bit of everything. We understand that there's nothing done physically that doesn't have a spiritual implication. So there's things that we've done in the past that we're still suffering from, lies that we've believed, condemnation that we've been under, that we're still dealing with, that we still think negatively about ourselves because someone else thinks negatively about us. And all these things actually cling to us. And so when we're going through life and we're dealing with hurt, trials, tribulations, struggle, the loss of a loved one, all of these different traumatic experiences cling to us, even the good experiences as well. So the thing about it is to rid yourself of these lower vibrations, these evil demonic spirits, whatever you want to call them, because they want to manifest through you. They actually want to manifest a feeling, a thought pattern, an emotion. So it's to think for yourself and walk in the highest vibration that you can so that you're not basically becoming a leech for these different type of entities that want to live through you, that want you to feel hurt and pain and sorrow and gluttony and addiction and all these type of things. So that's what these negative spirits want you to vibrate at the lowest level possible so that they can live through you. So dealing with these different spiritual healing things that we can do, there's a lot that we can do. So there's so much that we can do to actually block off these entities, to ward them off, to attract higher frequencies to us. So it's kind of like a blanket statement to say spiritual healing. There's so many different avenues that we can walk down with it, and like I said, one of the biggest one is dealing with childhood hurts, that you have a lot of grown adults to this day who are still dealing with stuff that happened to them when they were children.
That is absolutely correct. Now, is Reiki a form of spiritual healing? Would you classify that?
Yes, Reiki is definitely used for spiritual healing, and that's it's a medium basically to remove different negative energies or promote positive energy. And one who is intuitive can actually feel being around a person, whether it's viewing their aura or feeling the different thought patterns, the vibrations. You can feel this on people. And one who is walking in a higher vibration, you actually have authority over these lower level elements, that you can speak to them, you can push them away, you can pull them off. And it's different. Everybody operates differently. You can breathe them in, because spirit is breath, and there's just all these different techniques that you can do. And it actually runs along the same lines of faith healing. So like in the scriptures and in churches, when people lay hands on people and promote healing or cast a demon off of somebody, all of this is the same thing, whether it's Reiki healing, tachyon energy, chi energy. All of this is dealing with energy, moving it, pushing it to different places, or expelling it out of your life. So there's a lot of stuff that we've seen. We've got testimonies of people who, without even really saying anything, we can pull energy off of people, from long distances, and them receive healing. And a lot of times you have to deal with the the space and the void that this negative energy is in, so you have to replace it. So just pulling the energy off is one thing, but you have to kind of make the adjustments to fill that void and walk in true victory.
Now, you talked about the laying on of hands, and let me see if this is kind of your experience. This is kind of what I've experienced, and every church is different.
Mm-hmm.
But the Bible talks about laying on of hands, which, they have someone down there, everybody puts their hands on it. And everybody in church is like, this is okay, this is of God. But then you've got someone who is either around the globe on the other side or stands next to you and just holds their hand up towards you,
Mm-hmm.
and suddenly this is of Satan.
Yeah.
Did you encounter that?
Yeah, I've got friends who are dealing with it as well. They're energy healers, and they have family who are into the church, and they'll go there and they'll be in praise and worship and hold up their hands, and the preacher will say, stretch forth your hands, and start, reciting mantras and things like that. So it really doesn't look good, but the energy is done. Like, you don't even have to really even make contact. It is an energy work. It can be done through long distances. It's the exact same thing. You're still dealing with the positive and negative forces in nature and the different elements. So whether you're casting off a demon or speaking a blessing, all of this is high vibration and low vibration. So it's the exact same thing, and that's what syncretism is, and that's what comparative theology is, to show you proof that it's the exact same thing. The Kundalini, the Holy Spirit, exact same thing. They're just called different things by different people.
Mm-hmm. And it's so funny because I'm writing down notes as you're talking, and then you start talking about the next thing that I just wrote down, which is Kundalini.
Mm-hmm.
And so I was going to talk about Kundalini. What type of energy is Kundalini exactly? It's when I see Kundalini, I see it as a grid, like an energy grid that you can plug into. I can see it in my mind and see it with my eyes at times. And then you mentioned that is the Holy Spirit.
Mm-hmm.
So how do these two tie in? Like, how could you explain it to a Christian or to a lay person for them to understand what Kundalini is and compare it to the Holy Spirit?
See, that's the bad thing about coming on your podcast, is that I wouldn't explain it to a Christian like that. I've learned the hard way. You can't even call it that. You have to stick with the term Holy Spirit. But to a broader audience, what it is, it's basically the life force of God, God's hand moving in the universe, and you can get plugged in with that. And what it is Kundalini is the coiled serpent is what they call it. It's an energy that is released at the base of your spine, and when it's awakened, it travels up your spine, illuminates your third eye. You go into a static experience and stuff like that. So it's likened to the Holy Spirit, whereas it's the same thing. You go to church, there's people who lay hands upon you, and you can call it forth. You can receive it and things like that, and it's really tapped into on a personal level. Like, it can be, like, you can experience it in a group setting, but it's cultivated and walked in on a personal level. Like, this day-to-day great spirit, Kundalini, Holy Spirit, that you're dealing with on a day-to-day basis. It is the teacher to lead you and guide you into all truth. And it very much is a ecstatic experience, but the euphoric ecstatic experience in and of itself is not, it's not the end all, which, hey, I've experienced it. We all want to experience these things, but it has also been known to drive people mad. If you do not do the proper work, if you awaken the spirit within you, if you awaken it and you do not do the proper work, it can drive people to go mad. There's people who, once you're hearing voices, once you're seeing auras, once you're seeing visions and seeing past lives on people, like, if you don't deal with that and you do not take it seriously and walk this devout lifestyle, it'll drive you mad. Because sometimes it's hard to turn off and on like a switch. Sometimes it's always going on. So people begin to see themselves as like an avatar, or see themselves as chosen, or as this holy man, or whatever the case is, that people must come to like they are the chosen one or something like that. And there's a lot of people who believe that, and a lot of them believe it without even saying it. You know what I'm saying? They walk in that. A lot of pastors and crazy church leaders as well. So it very much is an energy that is very delicate. You have to be careful. You know, people listening to this, if they're just wanting to do it for the experience, don't do it. Don't do it just for the experience, because once you unlock it, once you open that door, there's no turning back. It's going to follow you the rest of your life. So even if you open it and you try to walk away, it's going to pull at you the rest of your life. And you'll go mad until you stay on that road and follow the signs and be obedient to that voice which you've awakened.
Yeah, I accidentally experienced Kundalini when I went to get my wisdom teeth pulled on the top, and they gave me gas. And I experienced Kundalini and didn't know what it was for like 3 weeks. I thought I was going insane. So, well, I didn't know what was going on. It's not like, hey, I'm seeking out Kundalini. Now I'm insane. It's like, why do I feel like I just need to go check myself into a mental hospital? Because something is seriously wrong with me. What is the difference between Reiki and Kundalini?
Kundalini is the spirit that is within you. There's the coiled energy that is based at the bottom of your spine, and it's released and awakened, and it basically illuminates you to commune with your higher self, with God, and on a very intimate level. I'll put it that way. Reiki energy is dealing with really pulling blocked energy, negative energy off of people, moving it around if they have different chakra energy that is blocked. That a practitioner can see that, move it, rearrange it, and promote healing for you, to pull negative energy and push positive energy upon you, so that you can use this in your life, that you can walk in it and feel whole, like mind, body, and spirit as whole. So dealing with the Kundalini energy that is within you, and it's like a fellowship. It's like you're awakening a friend who will never go away, versus the energy work is like dealing with other spirits. So like Reiki is basically dealing with other spirits, whether it's negative spirits, spirits of love, joy, peace, prosperity, moving and pushing these things.
That's very interesting. You're just a wealth of knowledge. I have another vocabulary question. Recently, I have, when my channel started to kind of, boom, and I got introduced to a lot of people, I got a download or codes of some sort that came inside of me and kind of expanded me. Then I had, probably about 2 or 3 days later, I had an experience where I got, I don't know if you call it an upgrade or what, but I completely connected to Source, where I'm in this beam of golden energy that's at least 2 feet either side of me, so probably about 6 feet in diameter, and it's around me. So what has happened now, where I'm having to make an effort and do some type of energy, connect to Source through my head, redirect the energy and heal people, and it's a lot of effort and a lot of work, and it takes a lot of out of me. Now, and I don't even have to raise my hand up, but I can, with no effort, just kind of raise my hand up, and all the energy that I'm in the middle of is directed somewhere else. And that's directly from Source, and it heals people like that, like so easily. Is there a name for that, redirecting that, or a name for what has happened to me with this protection?
Yeah, I mean, a lot of times that's always going on. When you're moving in the spirit, you're dealing with light, because there's tremendous study about light healing, and that's why we envision white light or green light healing as well, actually sending it forth. So a lot of times this light's all the way around you. The thing about it is, different practitioners, some people are able to see it, such as yourself. I can't really see it. I've got a friend of mine, when he gets in the spirit, he sees the light, he sees the energy, he can move it and shift it. Mine is more of an intuition, where I can feel it, I can physically feel it, I can't see it. So everybody's different, but as far as being able to move the energy, you can see it through vision. You know what I'm saying? You're more of a well, it's with your ESP, with I think it's, what is it, a clairsentience? Is that seeing, maybe?
You're asking me about $50 words today?
Yeah. Well, Claire, you know what I'm saying? Claire audience is when you
Mhm.
hear, and so I mean, you actually experience the spirit world through the five senses, and so you touch, taste, see, hear, smell. So I can feel it, you can see it, other people can hear it. They are led, totally by listening and being able to just sit quietly and listen. So my vision isn't like yours in that sense. I can't really see the manifestation of light and things like that, but I can feel them. Like I know when the energy's here, if it's a negative energy, and then I can actually feel it. I don't know if you can feel it when you do it. You probably can if you can see it. I'm sure feeling it is not that far behind. But yeah, so a lot of people. I had some more questions about how people can actually tap into this energy, and this is just a very practical way for you to tap into it. You will feel it. You'll smell. There's different smells. You can be around someone who has got a virus or who is sick spiritually, and you'll smell vomit and things like that, and they haven't been thrown up or anything. So there's different things. You can be around people and have a sweet aroma smell to them, and it's just their spirit. You can smell it. There's so much to there. Like you can look at people and see different things on them. I've looked at people and seen snakes wrapped around their feet, chains around their neck, and things like this. So you just have to be in tune and if you want it to go to the next level, you have to take that first step and move with this little stuff. You have to be obedient to the calling. And once you're faithful with the few, you can be trusted with more. And so that's what we're seeing now. That's what we're seeing with all of this. And as we speak it, we basically create our future. We create our destiny. We are able to walk in it. It's a lot easier to stay on that low vibrational path. It's a lot easier to lay in bed and be depressed and just go about trying to have a normal life. So when you do tap into these energies, when you do walk in them, there is a level of maintenance that you have to walk in. There's things that you can't do anymore. There's things that you're going to wrestle with, and it's going to be this personal spiritual journey, this wrestling match. As in the Bible, it stated that it stated that Jacob wrestled with God, and so he had to wrestle with these things. And so it's the same way. Once you, whether it's stop eating meat, you can't go back. You can,
Mhm.
but you're not gonna in your spirit. It's not gonna sit right with you. You're gonna be depressed over it. You have to walk in this level of integrity and maintenance that is basically supernatural. You know.
Oh, absolutely. And we've got a question over here from Ina 1994, and it kind of goes along with something I just experienced with my husband, how he was not behaving very well. And then I did a scan of, this is the short version, I did a scan of him, and there was an entity. It was very snake-like, and it was black, probably about this big around, started up here and went down his spine. And
Hmm.
I removed that, and his behavior changed immediately.
Hmm.
The question that she is asking, and I'm not saying this is Satan, but is Satan a demonic being or something else, or does Satan really exist? So I'm not.
Satan.
Yeah, I'm not
Satan in the
saying this is
biblical
Satan,
sense.
but this is
Yeah,
like
yeah.
not a good entity that was on my husband.
Yeah, so there's two different things to address there. Satan in a biblical sense is not a person or a demon or a monster or something like that. Satan is once that you are on your path to walking in holiness, to walking in your divine calling, and you turn back. Once you put your hand to the plow and you turn back, that's that's the path of Satan. That's the path of the lower self. That once you've been on that path and you've tasted of it and you've changed your mind and said, no, that's the path of Satan, which is the path of the deceiver, which is the path of the adversary of that higher will, the will of God, or the perfect will of God, or the will of Christ, becoming Christ-like, walking in Christ consciousness. Once you turn your back upon that, you've basically partnered with that adversary spirit, the lower level entities, and you've basically given them free dominion to come into your life, right? So that's why we see in the scriptures where Peter had something else in mind that he wanted to do for Jesus. Jesus knew that he was to go to the cross and he was to suffer the death for the forgiveness of sins. And Peter said, no, Lord, let it not be so. It's not going to happen. And then Jesus, they went back and forth for a minute, and then Jesus turned around and said, "Get behind me, Satan." So he wasn't talking to the devil. He wasn't calling Peter Satan. He was talking about the will of man, that you want to do your own thing instead of putting your hand to the plow and seeing it all the way through. So once you do that, that is what is the path of the self, of the lower self, not the higher self. The higher self is walking in integrity, walking in peace, love, understanding, goodwill towards men, versus the entity that you've seen is known by a lot of different names. It's known as the Slytherin as well. And the thing about the spine, these spirits and these entities can enter your aura and your light body through the base of your spine. That's where they go in. So anybody who is doing energy work, anybody who is trying to pull these spirits off, if you'll hold your right hand, that's your hand for healing, dealing with positive energy. You can put it to the base of the top of the spine, right where the skull and the spine connect, and that's where they
You mean
enter.
actually touching someone?
Touching them, or you don't have to touch them. Some people are weird about being touched by a person. You don't have to actually make connection, but you hold your hand to their neck, and that's where you can. That's actually where you can pull them out. And so it's been said, it's been reported that there's actually photos of these spirits that hang upon the top of the doorways, and they hang out there and they wait for people who are vibrating at a very low level, that they can actually drop down on them spiritually into the base of the spine. And when in certain instances, in certain lighting, certain cameras, they're actually able to pick up on film and see these entities hanging out on your shoulder. So you basically can envision a monster or some type of little gremlin type entity riding on your back. And sometimes they look like snakes, sometimes they look like serpents and things. But also, that's why you understand that if you'll notice, a lot of the Catholic churches, the roofs aren't flat. The roofs go down at an angle so that these spirits cannot stay up at the top. They'll actually slide down. So dealing with people walking on the doorways, that's where they hang out at, on flat surfaces where they can actually rest. So that's why you see the arches. It's always arched. It's either arched or like a triangle, so they'll slide down. That's how these spirits get on people. And the people who are vibrating at a very low level that they want to get on is a lot of times it's drunk people. It's people who are overindulgent in foods. It is people who have a lack of sleep as well. And so we all have to be guarded against them, and that's where they hang out. And there's different pictures. You can type it in on YouTube, and Chris Everett has a lot of stuff on his site with spiritworld.com. So it's pretty interesting stuff. I've seen it firsthand, so I believe it.
Yeah, I've seen pictures, and I've seen videos of them sliding off of the top and on to people's backs. So yeah. And church is a great place for them to be, because there's a lot of people in church who feel guilty and feel bad. So that's a good place to pick these things up. You have to be careful. It's not just at a bar. You pick these up at church as well. Yeah, the Catholics, and I'm not saying that there's any better religion, but the Catholics seem to have, and why is this? They seem to have a lot of these secrets that the other churches completely miss. Like with the water, with the holy water, they're really good at kicking some demon butt, and doing all of that. They've got the arches in the right place. They've got these frescoes, or they've got these paintings that basically, if you look at Danny Wilson's work, you get the Orion Nebula and put it superimposed. We kind of see where we came from and where all this came from. So why is it that the Catholics have so much more knowledge than the other religions on some practical issues like that?
All right, dealing with Catholicism. At this point now, it's not what it started out to be. It definitely isn't. The word Catholic means universal. So understanding that the Catholic was built to be the universal church, where you can come together and actually follow or worship all of the ancient gods through this one religion. So the poster child of the Catholic religion, or the Catholic faith, is Jesus. Jesus, Mary, and God the Father. So that's why you understand that in ancient times it was always the Divine Mother that was worshipped. That's why the Catholics venerate Mary over Christ. Mary is the one that they pray to. Mary is the one that they look to for protection, things like this. So basically, it's dealing with a lot of the information. Once they started out, a lot of this stuff is lost with them. Like it's there, but they don't practice it at all. I mean, you go to Catholic Mass, it's nothing to where when it started out to be. So understanding that that all of the religions are all based on a mother, a child, and a father. These three, this Holy Trinity, and that the mother was always venerated above the father and the child. So they maintain that sense of worship, and it's actually mentioned of in the Bible too, that the different feast days and holidays that they would use to worship the goddess as well. So understanding that the word Catholic means universal, so it's this universal faith or universal religion that you can come to and you can bow to, and by acknowledging these three, the Father, Son, and the Holy Spirit is their poster child now, those of the higher ranks know that these people are basically standing in proxy or standing in the gap for the other gods. And that's what it was. It was a religion created to bring all religions together. So when we're talking about the one world religion, a lot of people are hollering Islam and things like that. The one world religion is Pauline Christianity. This is the one world religion. This is the dominant religion of the face of the earth. This is the religion that was taken over different parts of the world by the sword and forced upon people. A lot of the things in the Bible that you would take literally, as far as the prophecies that Jesus spoke about, as far as the rapture, the tribulation, all of these things, people are like looking for this stuff to happen. It already happened. It happened during the time of those people. These people were crucified upside down. These people were fed to lions and all types of evil, done to them. And so I think that's the thing that the churches don't teach. They teach you that there's like this boogeyman, that there's just something to come. Like we have to prepare for this tribulation process, So that's why you have a lot of people who are looking for a tribulation, who are looking for persecution to come to America or to the Christian church, when really that's a huge slap in the face for those ancient martyrs who already went through that. Those people who were crucified upside down, that's a slap in the face. They were already beheaded. All of these things already happened. Christ said that they would happen. He said, in I think it's Matthew 24, he says that this generation shall not pass away till all of these things be fulfilled. So all of that stuff happened, and all of the prophecies are occurring even now with Christ consciousness as the second coming of Christ, returning to the hearts and minds of the people, that you are the temple of the Holy Spirit. People are looking for another temple to be built in the Middle East, and it's all over the news, and the Jews are building this, and they're getting the utensils ready and things like that. People need to understand that the temple is rebuilt. It is us. It is every man, woman, and child. You are the temple of the Holy Spirit. The Spirit of God dwelleth in you. And he even told Peter, he said that Peter would build his church, and his church will not be built with hands. It'll be a church not built with hands. So this temple, your body is the temple of the Holy Spirit. So all of this stuff turns from something that was very much physical, something that existed in the time of Christ, to something spiritual. The spiritual kingdom that is within you, that you can access, that you can walk in, that you can dwell in. I know we went down a tangent on that, and I didn't mean to get all religious, but
well, that's all right. That's what we're here for.
Definitely look into it. That's all I got to say. So obviously there's going to be people who disagree with that, because we've done the research, but you will see that it is plain in the scriptures about these things. And so the stuff that the so-called scholars make up to give an account for some of these accusations which the Bible makes, it'll be way off the wall. It won't even make sense. They'll just be making it up. You can read word for word the things that Christ said and how they already happened. If you study history, 70 A.D., Jerusalem being overthrown, all those prophecies happen, and they're happening now with the return of Christ, his second coming, within the hearts and mind of the people. Christ consciousness. That's what it is.
And this is why they keep wanting you back, TruthSeekah.
I try not, I try not to go with a lot of religious stuff anymore. That's the thing. I try not to go down these tangents sometimes, man, because, we may have some Catholics watching or some devout people, and I don't want to piss anybody off, but I do want to give the truth as it was, revealed to me, and it's revealed in the scriptures. And I'm not the only one. If I was the only one, then we talk about this avatar, this person bringing you divine knowledge. There are other people out there who have done the research, but this isn't mainstream thought, and these people are suppressed. These people are mocked, and just like people watching here have had truth revealed to them, they're being mocked as well. So that's why there's a connection there.
Absolutely. So back to the Kundalini. The Kundalini, and let me know your experience with this. When I accidentally, was exposed to Kundalini, and I thought I was going insane for about 3 weeks. There were things in my house, like in the refrigerator or stuff out on the countertop, that bananas, that have a certain number of days before, like a banana starts getting spots and all that, and the stuff in the refrigerator, strawberries start to grow mold in about 3 days or so. You get mold on your strawberries. I noticed that my food was not spoiling. And it was lasting like almost forever. Is that just being around this Kundalini energy? Is that what caused this food not to spoil? What are your thoughts on that?
I haven't had those experiences, but I believe you. It definitely is a positive experience or a positive energy that whenever we tap into it, it's like the life source of the planet, the life source that flows through the universe. So when we tap into it, we tap into this energetic life source that actually does wonders for our body, for our mind, for our spirit. So I could definitely believe that you've had those experiences as well. There is different techniques and things that people have done with fruit and different experiments, whether it's talking to it, whether it's using what is it called, pyramid energy and things like that. So energy dealing with fruit is definitely a something that happens. Like we talked in the past, we talked about the speaking the blessings and things like that. And when you're speaking, you are dealing with energy. You're creating as you speak. And the experiment that Dr. Emoto did with the rice experiment, I did it. It worked 100%. It's the same type of energy that when you're speaking this energy, when you're vibrating at this higher level, the things around you are going to be affected. So I can definitely believe that experience was tied together with you vibrating at a higher level of frequency.
And as far as healing goes, what is your attitude and opinion on asking for help? Besides Kundalini, Reiki, and I'm not well versed on all the angels and their names and their functions, but it's like, Archangel Michael, please help me in healing this cold that I have, or this flu that I have. What do you think about asking about angelic type? What are angelic type beings in the first place? And is it okay to ask them for help?
Yes, definitely. Everybody has a different entity or thing that they call the helpers that are helping. The ones that I speak to are referred to as the Elohim, and they have different rankings. There's so many different rankings of angels. The Elohim, the cherubim, the seraphim. You have the watchers, and then you have the different ones from different star galaxies. And understanding that the fact that there is some validity to this, even in the Bible, because what it gets into is it gets into angelology and demonology. People have Seth, people have Ra, these different energies that they're dealing with that has their greatest good in mind. And when you want to connect with these energies, whenever you want to connect with these ETs, whatever you want to call them, as long as you put that vibration out there that you align and you say, I want to align with those entities that have my greater good in mind, a bad entity is not going to contact you and try to deceive you into some crazy new age doctrine or whatever the case is. What you speak it, you create it. You don't have to second guess yourself. Second guessing yourself, there's a lot of people sleeping on missed opportunities in life and working for somebody else because they second guess themselves. Whatever your first mind says, go with it. And usually this is influence from the angelic realm. And you'll see all types of ancient paintings, even Christian paintings, of angels sending beams of light to people's minds, angels sending doves to people, and this doves, the dove is symbolic even in the Bible of spirit, the Holy Spirit, you know, and the different ways that spirit travels. So you see pictures of Jesus on the cross, ancient paintings, Jesus crucified on the cross with light ships traveling behind them, with these people driving light ships. I believe it is the Mona Lisa in the background of one of the famous Mona Lisa paintings. There's someone pointing up at a light ship, pointing at it. So the ancients understood that these angels were there for divine assistance. These angels ministered to Jesus when he went out into the desert, and he fasted for 40 days. When this negative vibration, the deceiver, Satan, appeared to him, this energy appearing as Satan appeared to him, and to show you that it's not an energy, it's the will, is what appeared. So it's the will that told him that he can choose another route. He can choose an alternate route, that he didn't have to walk this path of integrity. He didn't have to carry out this divine will, but he said, get behind me. You have not in mind the things of God, but the things of man. So that's what happened there. And then afterwards, the angels came and ministered to him. Also, we see, I believe it is in Matthew chapter 12, where Jesus was performing miracles. And the Pharisees, which are the religious leaders of the day, came to him and said that, hey, this guy's doing miracles and healings. He's casting them out with the power of Beelzebub. And they're like, who is Beelzebub, you know? So he's only mentioned one time in the scriptures, and they accused Jesus of this, and this is when he stopped and rebuked them. He said, how can Satan cast out Satan? He said, how can this happen? A kingdom that is divided against itself shall not stand. So understanding who Beelzebub is, Beelzebub is the prince of demons. That is your Satan figure. It's Beelzebub. It's not the devil. It's Beelzebub. And did you have an experience with something like that?
Well, I don't know what to say at this point, because I'm not done. I was hoping I would never hear that name again, because this was before I died. And when I didn't know what I was doing, I left the church, and I'm like, screw it, you know, I can see auras. And so this was like 8 or 9 years ago. And I would go out my back door and just say, if there's any entities there, you know, let me take your picture. And I took like 1.5 million pictures over, you know, a very short period of time. And so what I was doing was basically calling all entities to me and going through life, you know, not knowing that being positive or negative had any influence on anything. And just, you know, stressed out in life. And I didn't say goodbye or shield myself or go away or anything. And I had 7 demonic entities in my house, and one of them went by that name that you just spoke, that I don't want to say out loud. So and I'm protected now, but it just kind of freaked me out to hear that name again.
Well, that's something that you had to go through to learn, and I had to go through the same thing. It's similar with my story of just opening up my mind, calling in any spirit that was there. I want to commune with you. I want to know that there's something out there greater than myself. I want to know that these people I'm reading and stuff, that they're not lying. Show me something. And I didn't send forth the intention. You didn't send forth the intention. You said whatever is out there. And a lot of times those negative entities will be the first ones to show up. So that's why intention in everything that we do, I stress it every podcast, intention is number one. Send forth the intention. Speak it out. Say it. And envision it in your mind. And you don't have to worry about anything like that. As long as you're speaking to the creator of the universe and you're calling forth the greater good, you don't have nothing to fear. There is nothing to fear. So understanding that Jesus rebuked these people who said that he was casting out devils by the prince of devils, right? Like he was in cahoots with these demons. And he rebuked them and he told them, how can Satan cast out Satan? And here's the big thing. When you're talking about the blasphemy of the Holy Spirit, this is the thing. People, it's supposedly the unpardonable sin, the sin that you cannot be forgiven of. This is, and this is when it was actually spoken about. It's when the religious people said that the miracles that Jesus was doing for the work of God, they gave gave the praise over to Satan. They said that what he was doing was of Satan when it was really of his Father in heaven. And many of you people watching this right now, you're actually going through that. You're performing miracles, you're getting knowledge, inspiration, and information, and they're looking at you saying that you're dealing with Satan, that you're dealing with energy that you ought not be dealing with, and that is the blasphemy against the Holy Spirit. And that's what hinders the hand of God moving in people's lives, because they are in this seat of authority and they've already made their mind up. And I'm going to tell you the truth, that it says in the scriptures that Jesus went to many towns, many lands, and he was not able to perform any miracles. This is the one that we call the Son of God. Not able to perform any miracles, any healings, because of their fear, doubt, and unbelief. This is the Son of God. So if he couldn't do it, that's why we're talking about spiritual energy, spiritual healing. Many of these demonic entities, many of these lower vibrations, they come in through thought patterns, what we call an ungodly belief. Dealing with those ungodly beliefs, simply changing your mind, simply coming into the truth of what your greater good is, your greater purpose. Once that's revealed to you, these elements leave. These lower spirits leave. It happened in, and even in that, see, this is, that whole chapter, man, Matthew chapter 12, I'm telling you, I want you to read it, Kelly. It's deep, because Jesus talks about spirits there. He's dealing with spirits, and he talks about how they also say to him that he talks about the spirit of the prince of the south, I believe it is, the prince of the south. He may use a different word, but it's prince of the south. Other versions tell you that it was something else, but a lot of people, when they read it, they just kind of skim over it, and what is he talking about? He talks about a spirit returning, this prince of the south, a spirit returning, and you just read over it like, oh, what is it? What does that mean? I don't know. Jesus knew. I don't know. You skip over it. But when you do the cross reference, when you find out what he was talking about, he's talking about this spirit of accusation and a spirit of debate, which is alive in his generation and is alive in our generation too. So understanding that the reference comes back to when Solomon, all this is referenced in there. It's all dealing with Solomonic magic and Solomon. So Solomon dealt with the prince, I believe it was Sheba. He was dealing with Sheba, right? She was like it doesn't say prince of the south, queen of the south. Mark my words, queen of the south. He was dealing with Queen Sheba, and she got all of her mighty men. She got all of her people together, and they wanted to confront Solomon and put an end to the good that Solomon was doing. So they got everybody together, and they had all the hardest questions that were going to trick him and prove him wrong in front of everybody. And this was a spirit behind her that was doing this. It wasn't her. That we don't fight with flesh and blood. Everything is spiritual. So this was a spirit behind her, motivating her to do this. They go to Solomon, which Solomon was the wisest man in the land. He could have asked for anything he wanted. He asked for knowledge, information, and understanding. He got it. They approached Solomon, and they had like a big meeting, and they were asking him all of these questions to trick him and to expose him, so-called. They asked him all the questions. He answered every single question and put an end to all of their unbelief and all of their doctrine that they had. He answered it and proved it to them. And when he did that, it says that the evil spirit left her. The evil spirit was gone. So therefore, once he confronted these lies that they came with, once he confronted it with truth, that's what we're doing right now. We're confronting a lot of these lies and a lot of these things that people have been told ever since they was a child. Once we confront it with truth, these spirits will leave. Now there's so much stuff going on, and understanding that these spirits, they get in their thought patterns, their mindsets and mind frames, and obviously if you look, you don't have to look far. These spirits are still operating in the world, in the Middle East, here in America. These spirits are still running rampant. They are still seated in high places of government. Sheba was the queen, Queen Sheba. So back to Matthew 12, Jesus mentions he mentions Beelzebub. And he said, look, behold, for there is
You
one
might as
greater
well
than
say
Solomon here.
Beetlejuice 3 times.
Greater is he that is in me. Yeah.
It's
So
like,
he
okay,
said,
I need to get over this. I mean, because it's not going to come back. You know, it's not going to come back, and I'm protected. So I just need to kind of, just every time I hear that name, it just gives me like, my heart starts kind of beating real fast.
No,
It
I totally understand.
It did some damage. Like it tried to kill my husband.
Yeah. Yeah, there was. Yeah, I was in that place several times before as well. So Jesus tells them, he said, behold, there was one greater than Solomon who is here now, and you're standing in the presence of one. When they mentioned one greater than Solomon, it was talking about the prince of the queen of the south rising up and understanding what Solomon went on to do. Solomon went on to have all of the knowledge revealed to him. That's what he asked for. And when it was revealed to him, it was also revealed to him that the knowledge of the angels and of the demons. These demons would present themselves to him, and he had authority to ask them any question that he wanted, and they gave him all of the knowledge in which star or which planet that they aligned with, and they was able to rebuke them. I will say this. When you're dealing with people, when you're trying to heal people, it is good to know which entity that is binding them, because there is an angel that correlates with them that has authority over them. So a lot of times you'll see people with ailments, people with beliefs and things like that, people with demonic energies that they'll try to pray over. I've seen it in churches a million times. There's people dealing with Reiki, and there's no healing there. You have to find out which entity that is dealing with them, and you have to call it out by name many times. If you're walking in the highest vibration, many times these demons will actually reveal themselves to you, just like they did for Christ. He asked them, he asked for the name of the demoniac man, the spirits that was in him, and he said, Legion, for we are many. He casted out all of them, every single evil spirit. So dealing with that's one thing that you have to do. These spirits, dealing with Solomonic magic, there's a lot of detail. People can read this for themselves in the ancient text. We've done this study. We've not just done a study. It's not just a theory. We've actually applied these principles and they work. If it was just a theory, it was just making it up, there's really no point, but just to try to, bewilder you or something like this. This is real. Like, we've had encounters with demons, with angels. All of this is real. And so we just want to raise awareness for spirituality and what is known as spiritual warfare as well. So there's nothing that you do in the physical plane that does not have consequences in the spiritual plane. And it's written of in the Bible and all of the other ancient holy books. They're known as different names. You got to get over the name thing. Once you get over that, you're able to look at people for not who they are, but what's dealing with them. You're able to see past them and get offended at someone for being rude to you, and you understand that the spirit that's behind them is leading them and guiding them and torturing them, and you can rid them of that. That's why we're here. This is why we do what we do. That's why we put the information in the music. This is why we put our head on the chopping block. It's for people to walk in true healing and understand that there's nothing that can hurt you. Like, everything, it goes back to the perfect will. You went through that stuff for a reason. Like, if you didn't go through it, you wouldn't be able to sit here and have this conversation and help people who are either going through it right now or they're about to go through it. So big ups to you, Kelli, for being brave and being a trooper and doing what you're doing so much.
Do I get a lollipop?
You're going to get more than that. You're helping a lot. You really are. You really are helping a lot of people. I've turned all my people onto your work, and they've been watching your videos, and they love it, and they're receiving healing and stuff like that just by watching your videos, man. So keep doing what you're doing. Everybody out there, keep doing the same thing.
Thank you. I'll try to do good. The name thing, we won't go into this topic because we've already talked about this on a video, but we had discussed the demonic entities that they place in music. And how I had done an experiment. Everybody's like, hey, Kelli, check out this song. It's like, no, I'm done. after I did this, I didn't want to do it anymore. I contacted the spirits or entities that were attached to popular songs on the radio, and got they were all demonic entities except for one was raw. But the demonic entities, I asked them their name, and they told me their name. And sometimes I didn't understand what the name was because it sounded like a made-up language. But still, they all gave me a name.
Yeah. Google it. Google it. People pray in the spirit. People pray in tongues, and they think it's gibberish. They think that they're making it up. Google it. It's an ancient language a lot of times, and I've done it myself. And the word that I would keep saying when I would pray in the spirit and it would take over is Makateo, Makateo, Makateo. I didn't know what it meant. I pronounced it differently. I didn't pronounce it like that, but I wrote those syllables down and looked it up. It's Scandinavian, meaning we have your greater good in mind. We have humanity's greater good in mind. Makateo. It's like, wow, this makes sense now. So when you have these terms going over and over in your head, sometimes they don't speak English. Sometimes they speak in vibration and thought patterns. Look it up on Google. Look it up in a word translation and see what comes out, and you'll be surprised.
Exactly, and that's what I did, because these entities, and I've talked extensively in another video, we won't go into that, but these entities talked through me, and they told my husband, when he's like, who are you? They said, we're from the Council of Animasia. And I went to Google Translate, and I wrote Animasia as best as I could. I don't know how to spell it. Yeah. And I can't remember what language it was in, but in a language it means animation. Like cartoon animation.
Wow.
And I thought, if this is the Council of Animasia, it might be a council that governs this video game, if you will, that we're in. I was wondering if that's possible. Or have you heard Animasia?
Yeah. You know what? Was this a positive experience or negative?
Well, very positive. Inside of my husband is this like green lizard-like thing, and I've come to understand because I did, after I interviewed Radley Valentine, he said ask the angels. I asked Archangel Michael, what's going on, and basically I got the knowledge that this is the way that the spirit looks of my husband that's in his body, that he was came from Draco. And then this Council of Animasia, I guess, were peeps that looked just like him that surrounded us. And I found out, I thought my husband had malfunctioned because of the solar flares or something like that. And I'm going to go into a future video about what happened, but I found out that I got so much energy from this beam being around me that I short-circuited my husband. And they had to come and make adjustments on him, and they've had to make periodic adjustments on him ever since I have this energy around me that's hard to control. But that's the Council of Animasia, and there's a big cheese. He didn't tell me his name, but he looks like them, only he's larger with wings and a tail, and he's the one that said that they're from Draco. But don't worry about anything. They're going to give him an adjustment. He'll be right back to normal. And then when I found out I'm the one that's short-circuiting him, I've kind of toned everything down and kind of calmed everything down, and he seems to be a lot more stable. But Council of Animasia.
Yeah, I will say this: I encountered a demon when I was coming out of my stuff, which referred to itself as it was coming out. It referred to itself as the projector, and what it would do. It was really weird, man, and I got freedom and I got healing from this, but I would see it was like, this was crazy. It was like movies playing right up in here in my vision. Like there was these, I couldn't tell you what it was. There was scenes and stuff going on, like ancient war scenes and stuff all going on in my mind, and I could see it right above my eyes. I wasn't thinking it. I wasn't seeing it out here. I was seeing it right here in my forehead. It was like a projector shooting it onto my forehead from the back of my mind or something like that, and I couldn't turn it off. And this is when I was inviting all these spirits into my life, all these whatever they wanted, and this was one that came in, and I had to go see see some people who actually helped me get it out, and when it came through, that's what it introduced itself as. And when it came out of me, it stopped. It was gone. No more. No more of these crazy thoughts going on up here that would animate and be so real. So I think there's something tied to that. There's something tied to that, I believe.
It's very interesting. I
It
mean,
is.
I'm along for the ride. It's like I decided to live and to come back to this planet, and everything is kind of like a bonus.
Yeah.
All these cool things that are going on. Um, the breathing, and we've got a lot of questions piling up over here. We'll get to it in just a second. The
Hmm.
breathing, you mentioned how important the breathing is, and I noticed when I first started meditating and all, I would deeply breathe in and
Hmm.
out. And I could
Yes.
tell, I'm trying to remember which was which, but with either maybe breathing in, I got stronger or out. I can't remember,
Yes. Yes.
but there was a flow of energy when I would breathe in and out, and I became
Hmm.
stronger at certain points. So
Oh,
what is the breathing all about? Why is
breathing
that so
has
important?
breathing has a lot to do with it. Obviously, there's people who are breathing bad right now, and they're experiencing life a lot less to the full potential than they could if they would change the way that they're breathing. Simply breathing. When we're dealing with meditation, when we're dealing with Kundalini, there are different breathing techniques that unlock certain vessels in your body and align chakras to change the way that you're breathing and to automatically put you in a trance-like state, into a vibration, right? Because we're dealing with spirits as breath. They're just like air. It's all it is. But they can manifest and take shape and all of these things. But they deal with air and breath. So I don't know if anybody's ever seen. I'm pretty sure a lot of people seen it. The movie The Green Mile, where do you remember that movie
Mm-hmm.
with the big guy? He was an
Oh
inmate.
yeah,
He
that
was
was a
he was
good one.
wrongly accused or whatever, and you're watching one movie, then it automatically jumps to this scene to where uh, Tom Hanks his character has kidney stones or something like that, and he's can't get any sleep, and it's paining him real bad. And the big guy, the big prisoner, he knew it. He knew what was going on, and
Mm-hmm.
he puts his hand on him, and he sucks it out of him. He just breathe. He doesn't. He just breathes the air. He doesn't kiss him. He doesn't put his mouth by his neck. He breathes it in, and with that authority, with acknowledging it, he walks in that authority. He sucks it in, takes it upon himself, and breathes it out. And a lot of times, when releasing spirits and dealing with spirits, taking them off of people, they do
Mm-hmm.
come like that. They'll come. You can pull it in once you. Everybody's different. Not everybody's going to do this. I personally do this. That's why I'm speaking on it. And I've seen it in the movie. And I've done it. I've been around people, and I've had my hand on them, and I breathe it in. I feel the infirmity, and I cough it out. A lot of times when people are going through their own travail and doing it upon themselves, they'll begin coughing. Begin coughing, and like a gasp of breath will come out. Sometimes a spirit will try to choke you if it's a really
Mm-hmm.
strong negative spirit. So a lot of times you need people that are helping you. They will try to choke you, but because their breath, they come in and out through the mouth as well with the exhale. So it's so important to connect your breathing with your visual, as far as seeing it and breathing it out, or believing it and speaking it out. It's the same type of technology. It's the same thing. You see it in your mind, or you see it in your heart, and you speak it. The power is there. It says in the scriptures that, first of all, we touched on how God created the universes and the worlds by speaking them into existence. Then we understand that in Romans it talks about that if you believe it in your heart and speak it with your mouth, you can believe it in your heart all you want, but it's not going to come into fruition. It's not going to come into this reality until you begin confessing it. Confessing is so powerful because you create it as you speak it. You can believe it. You can have all these dreams for your life. You can know your destiny and know what you want to do with your life. But until you begin confessing it and joining these three, mind, body, spirit is one. Once you begin confessing it, tell people, walk in it, nothing's going to happen. You can believe it all you want. But until you connect with it and you step out in faith and you say it, then things are going to begin to change and mountains are going to begin to be shifted and moved for you to walk in your divine destiny. So understanding that when breathing in, whether it's through meditation, prayer, yoga, breathing in, you can do this technique. You can breathe in the positive, the good things, breathe it in, and exhale the negative. And you can feel it as it's coming. Stress, blow it out. Breathe in peace, breathe out financial worry, all of this stuff. Breathe it in, breathe in the positive, exhale the negative. You can do it through Kundalini Yoga. It's done through Kundalini Yoga, connecting your breathing with your heart rate, all these things. The fire breath is very popular. I will tell you this, like if people wanting to say, okay, where do I go? There's so much out there about the Kundalini. Obviously, a lot of the stuff I'm saying is different than what a lot of people are saying as well. I'm telling you what worked for me and what I found out. There is a YouTube video out there from a teacher by the name of Guru Mook, GURUMUK, whatever. Type in Kundalini Yoga, and it should be one of the first ones that pops up. This was the first Kundalini Yoga exercise that I did that had me walking in a very high level vibration. I felt amazing after I did it. I felt like someone who had a rag that was thrown in the mud and somebody wringed it out and stuff. It gets everything flowing. You align your breath, and the Kundalini can rise. It's pretty intense, but so it's not just regular yoga poses. It is almost like a Tai Bo yoga, something like that. And it's just these different ways that you move your body that the ancients understood, the way the energy flows, that you release this energy in you, and you basically wring out muscles and tissues and things like that haven't been moved in a long time and are holding negative energy. And you'll notice, those of you who have seen the movie The Avatar with the blue people, when they're all connected and they're doing these different motions and they're moving, these are some of the motions that you can do, and it's shown through Hollywood and through you know what I'm saying, through the media. So some of the stuff is released in the media as well. So people are watching movies, which this is a whole nother show we can go down eventually. But a lot of this information is released in the movies bit by bit, and this is one of them that the Kundalini exercises are released through as well.
Speaking of movies, and you're so psychic, I was going to ask you about one in particular that has to do with the topic that we're talking about right now. Paul, I don't know if you saw that, Paul the Alien.
I have not. I have not seen that one.
Oh boy, you gotta see that, because part of what he does is when he heals.
Okay.
There was this movie's been around so long, and hopefully it's a spoiler alert. Just fast forward if you don't want to hear this part. But there is a woman in this that has an eye that's kind of like clouded over. That there's a problem with her eye. The other eye is normal, and he heals. I can't remember if he puts his hand on her. I can't remember what he does to heal her, but he takes that. And all of a sudden, you see his eye. He's got big alien eyes, and then one of the eyes films over, like with that cloud on it, and then he kind of blinks it away, and then it goes away. So he took on her illness, if you will, and then got rid of it. I'm a scaredy cat. I don't want to do that. I heal people other ways. I think people who heal that way are just very brave and courageous to do that.
I will tell you, just starting out, and we did mention it in the other podcast, that a lot of people are experiencing that and they don't even know it. Sometimes it's not like a conscious effort to, okay, let me take on your infirmity. Most of the time you are moved with the infirmity. You'll be around somebody who has had some stomach or abdominal issues, and you'll get around them and your stomach will hurt. You have the crazy pains in your stomach. And like we said, the first thought is, oh man, my stomach's hurting. You think it's you, but you're walking in your highest, vibration. It's not you. You're not. It's not you. You're walking in total healing and divine health. So once you feel that, then you can respond to it. So a lot of people are going around people who are depressed, and they're getting depressed. They're going around people who have lying. They lie all the time, and then when you leave, you go home and you lie all the time. And so these different spirits will influence you, and it's also what was known in the Bible as a familiar spirit, a spirit that is around somebody, and it will get on you and actually influence you and come back with other spirits with the like mind. So moving, the step to making all this become a reality for you is to speak it out. We're giving you practical examples, but you have to move. You have to step out in faith, so to speak. You have to step out of the boat like Peter and trust God, trust the higher power. So once you do this and stuff begins to happen, you get the ball rolling. Say, hey, next time you're around somebody and you feel negative, you deal with that spirit. It may be just a negative spirit. It may be some type of healing. So therefore, when we're doing distant energy work and healing, you can feel. Whenever me and you, we actually had a session where you were kind of, I guess kind of building my faith to know that I can do it from long distances. And
Yeah.
you told me about the pain, and as soon as you spoke it, I felt it. I felt it as soon as you spoke it. So a lot of times that's how you know that, okay, I can connect with this, and I can take it upon myself, and I can be their strength. I can get rid of it for them. So a lot of times pay attention to your body. ESP, this is what ESP is, and extra sensory perception. Because listen to the things that you're hearing, the things that you're feeling, you got to be sensitive to this stuff.
Excellent. Now we'll get to a question or two. We've got Michael Ryder. You have talked about God, Jesus, the goddess, the angels, but where do star seeds and aliens fit into all of this? I know that some of the star seeds are here to help the humans to evolve into that angelic gene, and sometimes mixing the DNA with humans.
They're right in the middle. So these words a lot of times are interchangeable to whoever you're dealing with. The Elohim are an angelic race. They're also known to other people as ETs, extraterrestrial beings that live in a galaxy far, far away. And they can actually travel back and forth quicker than a thought pattern. Quick. As soon as you speak their name, they can appear to you. And a lot of times they don't come if they're traveling physically. A lot of times they won't come down like physically. It'll be with the thought patterns. They'll be out of the atmosphere, and they'll shoot different thought frequencies to you. When we're talking about these ancient paintings, there's paintings of the ships sending information to different people, and so the words are interchangeable. You just have to be careful with who you're dealing with. They are extraterrestrial. They do have your greater good in mind. They are angelic. So if you want to call them aliens, that's not their names. They don't call themselves aliens. They call themselves Elohim. They call themselves Abraham. They call themselves Ra. They call themselves by which constellation that they're from or that they are around. And like I said, all of this is spoken of in Solomonic magic as well. It takes it to the next level. Go out and connect under the stars and see who connects with you. Just go out there and speak to your higher self. Speak to your guardian angels. They're called the same things, whether they show up physically. And they see, that's the thing where it freaks people out, because when we talk about angels, most people think we're talking about imaginary beings, like I'm going to summon an angel, so this angel's going to appear from heaven, which is somewhere else or whatever. But this is, this heaven is a physical place, and they travel back and forth from heaven to earth, and you can see them traveling. You can go out in a clear night sky and see them traveling throughout the stars. You can see it with your physical eyes, not with your spirit, not internally. You can physically see them. And they will stop, they will light up for you, they will blink at you. Sometimes they will come down. But if you understand what is scary, that a lot of the reasons that they're not coming down as often right now, it opens up another can of worms. But our government is actually fighting against these ETs or these angels. Like, our government are the ones who have your worst intention in mind. Like, these are the people who need you to be consumers. These are the people who need you to eat McDonald's and need you to vibrate at a very low level so that they can live comfortably. And a lot of this, we're throwing all this information out here at once and trying to tie it together, but a lot of it coincides with the work of Zecharia Sitchin and David Icke as well, that the leading people in your government and what they call the serpent, this, the serpent in the Bible is called the serpent seed, correct? So the serpent seed is basically the ruling seed, and it said that the seed of the woman shall fight against it. So there's these two seeds, these two people or bloodlines that will fight against each other. And you understand the ruling authority has only been 13 bloodlines, and they're all related. They're all related very closely. All of the people in Hollywood in very high places are all related. It's proven. So we talk about, and I'm not going to go as far as say that all these people are reptilians. I can't prove that. I don't really know, but they are referred to biblically as a serpent seed. That is the ruling seed, and has fought against the seed of God since the very beginning, and used them to basically maintain their wealth and keep them at these high seats of authority. So a lot of times when these ships are coming down, there's so much footage online of this, and other people have seen this, that they're being shot at, that there is different laser cannons and these different pulse guns or whatever that is shooting up at these ships when they come down to manifest. And there's actually jets that fly around. When there's one that comes down, a jet will actually, if it's in our atmosphere, will actually fly out there to scare it off. And there's so much footage of this. I've seen it with my own 2 eyes. They've told me. I've looked up and seen them, and a jet flying to them, and then they go away. So these are the good guys. These aren't the bad guys. People, and that's why I try to put out this information. I know it sounds crazy, but the reason we're doing it is because of the bad rap and all of the stuff where people say, well, those are demons, blah, blah, blah. No, those are the people who have your greatest good in mind. They've been here from the beginning. They're known as the gods, the Elohim. They dealt with all people of all religions, and you can personally contact them, and they will show themselves to you. They will help you align to your greater good and to align with your destiny in this life, so that you can basically vibrate at your highest frequency. And you know what I'm saying, those are the ones who help. So when we're talking about angels and who you call upon, I call upon them. I really do. I call upon the Elohim. I call upon Makateo, and they teach me. You go into meditation, they will teach you. This is the teacher. They teach you through life. They don't sit down face to face and have a conversation with you. That's not how it works, because it's, it would be too easy that way. They teach you through life. Once you are vibrating at this frequency, you'll find out that you'll be watching television, and they'll teach you throughout the programming that's coming on. You'll be watching a movie, and the spirit will be dealing with you, and you'll be watching a total different movie than everybody else. You'll be watching it, and then when a movie will come on, you will see these characters appear, and they'll tell you, okay, that's you, this is your mom, and this is your boss. And throughout the movie, these people, what they do represents your life, and it's like, oh, they're playing out your life on the movie. And there's really deep revelation, man. And a lot of people know what I'm talking about. I'm not the only one speaking this. There's other people I've talked to who have had this. So when you have eyes to see and ears to hear, everything becomes a lot more interesting, and you can be used for the service of humanity and for those who have the greater good. You can join with them and be of assistance. And so with all this going on, spiritual warfare, it is important to enjoy life and do the right thing. And there's a lot of people suffering because of different decisions that they've made in their past. And there's a lot going on, man. We're throwing it all out there. So I know each thing that we mention sparks a million questions, and that's why we're here. So
it does. It definitely does. Oh, we've got another question, and there's a word in here I've never heard before, but when I read it, I think I understand what they're asking. Do you guys know about telekinesis, and in specific, areokinesis? And if so, any tips? I can't seem to do anything. I can see the ball in my hand when I focus enough, but it doesn't do anything when I try to use it.
I will say this. I'm glad that they brought this question up, because it was a point that I wanted to bring up earlier and didn't get to do it. When we're talking about the Catholic priest and how they were reported in the 1700s and before, these priests were actually reported hovering and actually levitating, flying through town. So we're talking about them knowing the secrets of the mystery schools and some of the, these laws that they keep to themselves. Obviously, they don't share it with the people. You come there to be forgiven, and that's about it. Sing a couple songs, and that's it. So these people understood this. So yeah, there was these priests who can do this. There's a lot of people who claim to do it. The telekinesis thing, I've definitely tried it a lot. I haven't had much success with it.
I did it 3 times.
Oh, really?
It was so it's not that it was difficult to do, because once I got there and I did it, it was so easy to move that object. But it was getting your mind to that place. Like the first time I did it, it took 2 weeks and hours and hours and hours each day. And then finally, after 2 weeks, I moved something like, an inch or two. And that was it. And then after that, I was like, oh, this is how you do it. And then I did it like a couple more times with a couple more objects. And then it's like, this is kind of hard. So I'm going to stick with seeing auras and healing and all that stuff. That's a whole lot easier. Because I have children and a husband. And, if you're not a monk with no distractions, then it's hard to do it over and over again. But it's just getting your mind into that place. Once you get it there, you can move physical objects in this third dimension so easily when you get there.
Yeah, some people are good at it. There's a video that inspires a lot of people. I can't speak on its authenticity, but the video of John Chang, who is moving things with with energy and putting he takes like a chopstick and puts it through a wood table. He sets stuff on fire. I can't prove the video's authenticity, but I can prove the sense of awe and wonder when you watch that and it takes you to another place and you want to do it yourself.
That's when I did it. I had just watched his video because I was trying to get, like, how do I do this? Do I say pin move? You're trying to figure out what can I do to move an object. And then all of a sudden, when I saw that video of him moving like a sword or something, and then it just moved, all of a sudden, it's almost like I remembered how to do it. And then that pencil went shoo, and just moved over just like that immediately after I saw the video of him.
Well, definitely one thing about having objects moved is that you can talk to spirit. You can talk to your guardian angel and commune with them this way, as you can take a pendulum and hold a pendulum up like this between your fingers and ask a question, and a lot of times they'll make it swing what I'm saying, back and forth for yes, and sideways for no. And I've actually had them in the past do different tricks with it, or whatever the case is. So that is one thing that that you can make connection and commune that way as well.
That's awesome. That's awesome. There's another question. To see all these beings and spirits, etc., do you have to wake up and you instantly see them? Or is the process slow? First you're seeing auras and energy, then you start seeing spirits, etc. Because I see the energy in the air, but I can't see beings.
Yeah, I think that everybody's different. And I believe that there's so many different dimensions there and so many entities that are vibrating at different dimensions that we see different ones at different times. Because obviously if we've seen everything, like, we're not saying that everything we look at and there's colors and shapes and demons here and angels here, and we can't see it like that. You can sense it, but seeing it, it's kind of weird. It's like, it's not that you always see it. It's like you see them when you need to see them. It's not like, okay, everywhere I go I see angels and demons fighting or something like that, But when they need to be seen, they reveal themselves to you. So a lot of people, it starts out gradually when they're a child and they're seeing things and they're hearing voices and seeing visions inwardly, and being inspired from a source that they know not of, being led. And then you find out, once you're awakened, it's a term we use, that everything's been planned out for you, and it goes, with the scriptures. It even talks about the steps of the righteous are ordered by the Lord. So anything that you're doing, whether you go down a path that taught you something that you may have thought was negative, but you learned something from it, it was all inspired and it was all ordered by this higher power.
Exactly. Before I died, I could see auras. I learned how to see auras. It's something that I actually learned how to do. I could see entities, by accident when I was growing up, but I kind of shut my abilities down. And then on purpose, I wanted to see auras. But what I noticed after I died and came back, because seeing entities and seeing auras and all that is just basically going into another dimension. And when you die and pop out of your body, boop, you're already in that dimension. So when you come back, whether you're forced to or you choose to come back, I chose, still don't know why, but I chose to come back. After I came back, I could easily come out of my body and do astral projection, remote viewing, see entities, see auras, hear them, touch objects and know things, read people's minds. It was just instant. So yes, you can have a type of just suddenly waking up and have these abilities. Mm-hmm. So if you don't have a sudden waking up, it's just basically you got to practice. Because practice. Once you get into that place of being able to do it, then you are able to do it easier the next time.
Yeah, and it's also like, because you're not always vibrating at that level, you're not always in tune. So sometimes you have to do the breath work. Sometimes you have to do the meditation work to actually see this stuff. So you can, in a sense, hone in your abilities. So it's not where it's always going on. Like I said, I don't want people to think that it's really miraculous, like there's beings everywhere, and there's actually an angel I'm looking at sitting right here. Some people it's like that, but it's not always like that, so that's why you have to deal with feeling them in your body, or knowing, or having the sixth sense to know, like you have that feeling that, oh, someone's standing behind me. So it's different for everybody tunes in differently.
Oh yes they do. We've got another question. I thought that Buddhism had the best knowledge about spirituality. What do you think about that religion?
I can't really speak on it as much. I know people who are devoted to that religion. I don't have a lot of. I do know the philosophy, and I do see the strains of the theology that is webbed without all religions. That's what I study. So I study all religions, but I don't practice them, put it that way. So I really can't give an educated, of what I think of something that I haven't practiced. I'm not going to speak on that. So.
Yeah, and I haven't. I've done kind of the same thing. I've done a lot of study and knowledge, and not a whole lot of practice, because after you die, it's kind of like, oh, okay, you kind of know how things work, and I don't need to follow a religion at all. Exactly. But if I were forced to pick, knowing what I know about all the religions, like if it's like you have to pick one, Kelly, I would probably pick Buddhism. Because it matches. I think it would match me better than the rest.
Well, that's the thing. It's like knowing that you don't need that, because you don't need it, but all the principles, all the spirituality, it's all true. But it's true with all of them. It's true with Hinduism. But they call it different things. You know what I'm saying? So they refer to their gods as being something that they pay homage to and veneration to. That same understanding could be seen in Christianity throughout the scriptures as these gods, not gods, but the biblical figures playing out a role in your life, and that's really what's going on. So those who are in tune spiritually that I've dealt with Hinduism will say that the gods are just these different manifestations of energies and the different parts of themselves. They're representative of themselves. So once you are awakened, once you are illumined, you can know that, and then you can know that reading the Bible, that it's not about Paul and Peter. It's not about David and Goliath. It's about you. It's telling your story. You're David, and you're going to have to face a Goliath. You're Moses, and you're going to have to walk through Egypt. You're going to have to walk through this dry desert place. It's telling your story. And so reading that with this understanding, I mean, it actually tells you this in the Bible, that you can't just read it as a history book. The Bible's not a history book. You don't read it to understand history, then try to go out and look for the Ark of the Covenant or Noah's Ark, and, oh, we found Noah's Ark in the mountains. You most likely didn't. The honest truth is, we have no idea if those people even existed. But we understand that those stories are allegories that have a deeper meaning, and the meaning is about our spiritual life and our spiritual walk. And once you're awakened to this, it changes everything. And it's not literal. You're not in the whole thing about these wars and the Israelites fighting a country and killing everybody and slaying everybody and pillaging the goods. It's not about that. That's not what that's about. That's about these different Philistines and these different angel offspring races. These are demonic entities that you have to face. They represent something in your life. This golden calf is not a physical golden calf that they worshipped. This golden calf is something that you have to deal with, whether it's your ego, whether it's your materialism or your job, something that you venerate more and you'll pay more time and give more energy and money to than you will the things of God, than you will to your greater good. So we are playing out the role of each one of these individuals. So all of these ites, Hittites, Israelites, all these people, they most of the ones that the Israelites represent you. The word Israel means child of God or children of God. You watching this, you're the child of God. So that represents you. And when you go against these other nations, these people who want to kill you, these are entities. These aren't even people. The Bible tells us that we do not war against flesh and blood, but powers and principalities and high places that exalt themselves against the knowledge of God. That's what they do. They want to tell you what they want you to do, ideologies, what to believe, that go against God and the greater good of the universe, or what we like to call natural law, to kind of throw some some information there. Natural law or universal law. So it becomes a lot more interesting. And that's the thing. It's about you. The scriptures say that the Bible is not just a book, that it's alive, that it's sharper than any two-edged sword, able to cut down between bone and spirit, and able to divide your heart. And so when you read it, it actually says you're looking into a mirror. People don't know this. The pastors don't know this. They don't teach this. But once you understand this, you're able to walk in your destiny and see how they overcame that enemy. Once you read it, you see, okay, the way that they overcame this enemy, and what happened is the way that spiritually I'm going to overcome my enemy. And you start to do those things, and it's all symbolic. It's all allegories. I don't know that these people even existed. Nobody can prove it. Just as much as people try to prove it, there's a lot of info people proving it, and there's just as much people discrediting it and saying that it didn't happen. That's not the case. The case is, what is it doing for your life? Has it changed you? Is what you believe, does it affect the way that you treat people? Does it affect the way that you live and that you view your world? That's what it's about.
When this is before I died, because once you die, you're like, oh well, duh. But before I died, because of corruption in the church that I was in, and some other things, and some doubts, and it's like, I think you guys are lying to me. I left the church, and it was like, there is no God, there is no Jesus.
Mm-hmm.
This is the phase that I was going through, and during this phase of there is no God and there is no Jesus, which I find it kind of funny that when I died, I did not go to hell and Jesus was not there, but anyway, but it was in the process of what does really exist? Does God really exist? What is going on? And I thought, I'm just gonna, because I can connect to entities. Jesus is an entity, so I connected to Jesus, and I was like, okay, do you exist? If so, what are you? Who are you? What's going on? This is before I died.
Yeah.
So Jesus appears to me at first it was that almost like that Catholic painting of Jesus.
Yeah.
The traditional one.
Yeah.
I saw that, so it let me know this is Jesus. And then Jesus appeared on top of a white horse with wings, in like human form. And if I hadn't seen the picture of the Catholic picture of Jesus, I would not have recognized it as Jesus. So it was kind of like, I'm showing you that this image of this man you're seeing now that doesn't look at all like everybody was describing Jesus to look, is Jesus, and it was on this white horse, and Jesus said to me, I am not what you think I am, and then started morphing into all of the at least 50 different deities, Buddha, Muhammad, and Hare Krishna, and all of those, and the Shiva, I don't know, the multiple arms ones, and all. So it like morphed into all of those, and then came back into the form standing now in front of the horse to the Jesus that I knew was Jesus, not the picture, but the man standing there. And then he gave me a message, and he said, tell my people I am coming back soon. The judgment of the churches will begin soon. So this is my this is my encounter with Jesus. Is Jesus basically telling me, well, not in words, that I am not the only one, I'm not the only way, and there are multiple versions of me on this. And this leads into kind of the concept, because you mentioned David Icke earlier, and I don't know if you've seen the recordings of David Icke 20 years ago or whenever that was, I've lost track of time, when he was just very, very young. And he went on a show and said, I am the Son of God. And said and put himself on the level of Jesus, and he was so criticized by so many people. But when you look at it, we are all basically sons of God, and Jesus even talks about this in the Bible, that you are just like me, you are the Elohim. So did you know that about David Icke, that he was like, okay, I just So what do you think about this Jesus concept, and in general about the concept about the man Jesus, if there was a man Jesus? Or was this actually like an extraterrestrial that came here and did stuff? And then David Icke's experience, I guess, being a son of God on the level of Jesus.
Yeah, there is more proof that these New Testament figures existed. So I personally believe that Jesus existed, Paul existed, Mary, there's relics, there's, one thing about their existence is like there is a lot of proof, or what you can, if it's proof to you, that all the other religions venerate them. There's high priest of the Hindu faith. They have claimed that they have the grave site for Mother Mary, and so they have shrines to Mother Mary where she came over there and learned from them. And Jesus, they say that Jesus came and spent time amongst their people. The Buddhists as well. Also, you have even what people would see as like the enemy to the Christian faith. The Quran talks a lot about Christ and his existence or whatever. So there is this going on. So I personally believe that the New Testament what was physical, but it has its spiritual meanings as well. The Old Testament, that's the one that's really your life revealed. They say that the Old Testament is the New Testament concealed, and the new is the old revealed. So the signs and the symbols and the spirituality and all that kind of get straightened out in the New Testament through love and things like that. David Icke, whenever he went through his experience, when I talk about your Egypt experience, the children of Israel coming out of Egypt, this is what is called the dark night of the soul. It's like every saint has been through it, every sage, every person who is on that path of following their destiny is going to have to go through the dark night of the soul. I recently went through it just a few years ago, coming out of Christianity. When I was dealing with whenever I was dealing with all the negative entities and these demons and things like that, when I had them all over me and speaking to me and in my mind, and I was going crazy. That was a very, very dark time for me, very dark. But what I've experienced in the past 4 years, that exodus coming out of Christianity and still believing God, that was one of the darkest things I've ever been through. All of my friends abandoning me and speaking all manner of evil against me and things like that. I went to a really dark place, and this was when everything was happening. So it was very exciting seeing UFOs, I'm having angelic encounters, but still socially, and friendship-wise, if you begin to become the path of the lonely one, and we all must go through that at some point in time. So if you haven't been through that yet, get ready. If you're on the path for your destiny, and you go through that for preparation and for training, so that you have to learn everything you can when you're going through it, so that when you come out of it, you have all of this knowledge, all of this understanding on how to respond to the different situations that are going to come up in the future. It's basically a proving ground, or how the Elohim tests you and prepare you. You're basically inducted into their mystery school, and once you come out of that and you stay on that path, that's you completing your initiation. If you stay on that path, if you turn back, you say, you know what, forget this. It was more fun in Egypt. I'm going back to Egypt. They had food in Egypt. I had friends in Egypt. Yeah, I was in bondage, but I still had people. There was human beings in Egypt. In this wilderness, I'm by myself. So once you go through that and you come out the other side, that is the completion of your initiation. Then all things become new, and then you start over, and then you're born again. You come out of darkness into the glorious light. All of this stuff happens, and then you begin, right? So David Icke went through the same thing. When he spoke that out, he was loved. He was venerated by his people, and when he spoke that, he went through it. So understanding that, yeah, the Bible teaches Christ consciousness. Jesus taught, you are part of my body. I am you. You are me. That this is the concepts that you come through dealing with spirit, dealing with spirituality, is that every person is an extension of you. Everybody represents you. Everybody is your family. It's deeper than family. They are you. They are an extension of you. And the majority of people are in different places spiritually that are you once were. Some people where you want to go. Some people, look at other healers and things like that and be like, man, I wish I was like them. And there's going to come a time, if you stay on the path, you're going to become like them and even greater if you follow your path and your purpose and destiny. So, yes, we all are part of this spiritual body. Everyone is connected. We all are expressions of consciousness. Everything is vibration and moving and, vibrating, and we're all connected. And that's going to be a 101 thing for people who haven't understood that yet. So once you understand that, there's no need for war. There's no need to fight anybody. There's no need to backbite. There's no need to gossip. There's no need to steal, to kill. You understand that everyone is an extension of yourself, and treat others the way you want to be treated. I don't want to be stole from. I don't want to be lied on. I don't want to be beat up. I don't want to be killed. So understand that. I'm not going to do that to anybody. These are the concepts that not only Jesus, but the Buddha and, Krishna and all these people taught. And so we see all these people, like was revealed to you. That is what is called the avatar. This divine universal power being revealed at different places on the earth to a different people with the same message. Now the interpretation may be a little bit different, and because this stuff was never made to be passed out in a handbook. They don't teach through handbooks, just like the Native Americans don't teach through writing. They teach through oral tradition, and you're going to be taught through spiritual tradition. You're going to be taught. You're going to have to go through it. You have to experience it, and that's one thing about experience that nobody can take it from you. That's one thing about faith, is believing. A lot of people are taking what I'm saying on faith, like, oh, I believe him. He's pretty convincing. Or some people, well, he's stumbling over his words. I don't believe him. You go from faith to, once you experience it, you move from faith into knowing. You know this. And that's what a lot of people are watching. Why are people watching you, Kelly? Because they move from faith to taking your word from it to experiencing it. You have a lot of experiencers that are like, this is real. Let's band together. We need help. So that's what it's about. We learn through experience. That's what Gnosticism is. Finding God and knowing God through experience with God.
Now, this concept of worship, when I died and came back, I understood what worship was before I died and came back. Then I had to get another grasp on what is worship actually? And then what I saw as worship is more like giving away of your power, giving something away to an entity that you don't even know what it is, what level it's on, or anything like that. But I'm dealing with, let's say, angelic beings or extraterrestrials, whatever you want to call them, that they help me. And they're on a level that's a lot higher than I am, on a higher dimension and a higher vibration. So they help me, and I don't go, oh, Archangel Michael, I worship you. I just go, hey, thanks, man. Thanks for that. Yeah, you know, gratitude. I show gratitude.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
people tried to do that biblically. They tried to bow down and worship the angels. They did it to Jesus. Good teacher, you're good. No. I'm not good. There is none good. There's but one good. It's my Father in heaven. Connect with that. I'm not good. They're trying to, you know what I'm saying? They're trying to bow down and worship angels. That happened in the Bible. They said, get up. Get off of your feet. Don't worship me. I'm a messenger. Don't venerate me. Don't build a religion around me. Jesus didn't come to be worshipped. He didn't.
Right.
He didn't come to be worshipped. He came to teach you to be like him. He came to show you the way. He said, I'm the way, the truth, and the life. No man comes to the Father but by me. Whoa, there's a fork in the road there. What did he say? Do you understand that in the Hebrew and also in the Aramaic, it breaks down. He says, I am of the way, of the truth, and of the life. So the way that he is teaching, he's not the only one that taught that way. You'd be crazy to think that Jesus was the only one who came with that information. That's what the 13 risen saviors came to do. That's what the avatars came to do. They came with a very, very, very similar message, similar disciples, you know what I'm saying, similar beliefs, and they came and taught it through this universal power. So that's what it's about. It's not about worshiping. I mean, I could see why you want to. You know what I'm saying? I could see why you want to worship the angel. They wanted to do it in the Bible. They wanted to do it to Jesus, but he told them not to. Yeah, you need to spend time and connect with higher power. He is basically the way seer, the one for you. You can connect with Christ, and he connects you with God. That's all. That's what it is. He came to show you a better way. He's the way seer. I mean, so that's the thing about it. And you'll always find out that whenever that, you know, the worship stuff, you know, gets pushed with the churches and stuff, you know, they always come out with something else. You know, they're like, okay, worship him, but pay me, or worship them, but follow me, or worship them. It's like, am I to learn of this entity that you're connecting me with, or am I to learn from you? Like, you know, like, who are you? You know, and it's been like that since the beginning, and because, you know, men love power, and power corrupts. It's sad but true. Power does corrupt. That's why it's key to walk in integrity and maintain integrity on this spiritual lifestyle.
And you just mentioned money. And right before we did our interview, I did a video on spirituality and money, where there's a concept of, okay, if you come put a roof on my house, I'm going to give you money. If you come and clean my house, I give you money. If I eat your food in the restaurant, you know, I'm going to give you money. But if you spend all your time away from your family and neglect everything that you have to teach something spiritual, that no, you can't have any money for that.
Yeah.
So what's your opinion on that?
Here's the opinion. Here's the thing. But we understand that Christianity it's you know, they have temples and gold, and they're clad in jewels and diamonds and all this kind of stuff, pimp rings and Rolls Royces and things like that, right? So we're very opinionated when we're talking about Christianity dealing with money. The fact of the matter is that, and the reason we are is because they say that you owe. They'll tell you that you owe God, but pay them because you owe God, not for them. Because to understand that a person who is teaching, a person who's putting a roof on your house, the Bible says that a servant is worthy of his wages. If someone does something, is working for something, he's able to do that. And it also says that that a person who is sharing should be able to make a living off of what they're doing, off of sharing the gospel. And so when we look at Christ, when we look at Paul and all these people who were highly spiritual people, contrary to popular belief. These people were very spiritual. These people did a lot of spiritual charitable acts. Not only gave their time, but they actually gave their lives to the very last breath,
Mhm. Oh
because they
yeah.
loved not their lives even unto death. So paying someone for their time and paying someone for a service is one thing, and trying to pimp people and what a lot of these people are doing. We actually offer spiritual services on the website. We do stuff, and you're basically paying for time. This is stuff that we do for free. This, interviews and healings and things like that. But understanding that time is very, very valuable, with having families and full-time jobs and things like that, and a lot of this stuff costs or whatever. So it's not that we would turn anybody away who didn't have the money or who wasn't able to help, but understanding that time is a very precious, and you can't even put a number on spiritual healing. You really can't.
Mhm.
Um, the people, whenever I went through mine, like, I was very. It was one of the most uh, phenomenal things that happened in my life when I went through my spiritual healing. And guess what? There was a counselor, there was a person there facilitating that who got me in touch with the higher power. And, they are, worth their wages. You can't put a price on that. So
Mhm.
when we charge or something like that for a CD or doing music or something like that, or a book or whatever, it's really to help with the bills, because we understand that we're dealing with a monetary system, and rent isn't free, and but we want to distinguish between those who are in it for the money and those who
Yes.
demand money and things like that. There's a big difference there. So there's a lot of actually in the scriptures that tell you to actually run from these people, these people who do that. But giving a charitable donation to someone who helped you and provided a service, there's totally nothing wrong with that. So, and that's something to where, doing it, you kind of wrestle with it, because you know what's going to go on. You know that these people in these churches are money hungry, they're money changers. Jesus flipped over the tables and stuff like that. So when it comes to offering a service that is spiritual, that you're not giving them something tangible, like something physical, and it's something spiritual, um, that a lot of people, have a lot, what I'm saying, have something to say about that. So um, I've talked to a lot of different healers who do the same thing, and they kind of had to wrestle with themselves. But whenever they're offering a service that's helping you, and you feel like it's worthy of pay, then it is. If you don't feel like it's worth anything, then don't purchase it. But if you need what they're offering, and you have the funds or the income to help support them doing what they're doing, then I think it's all good.
Excellent. And I want to talk about your music for a minute. You have got some albums out, and you have a lot of stuff that you offer. And you told me before the show that you have like a coupon code of sorts to help the Kelly and the Raw watchers out, and helping to get your music and your stuff. So tell us about that.
Yes, if you go to the store, we have the brand new site up, just launched. Been putting a lot of work in that. All of that money came out of my pocket to fund that and to put the website up and pay the people and the servers and all this kind of stuff, right? So we got that up and going. So we do have a coupon code going. I want to thank, first of all, Kelli and the Raw for having me
Oh.
on the show and spending time with me to actually step out and offer these healing services, because it's been something that I've just done for free, um, with friends that I know and at churches and stuff like that. But obviously, I don't really spend a lot of time at churches anymore. But I'm still moving in these giftings and these abilities and things like that, and I want to offer it. So people who would like to um, hit me up for any type of healing services. There's a lot that I offer. There's a lot of stuff that I'm gifted in, and I want you to walk in freedom. And I believe it is it's your God-given right to walk in true freedom. Whether it's entities, whether it's dreams that are haunting you, whether it's energy of past sins that you're dealing with with people. There's a lot of information on the website. So I want to thank you for encouraging me to do that. I want to thank Drew Gower, I'm say his name personally, for encouraging me to do that, because I wrestled with doing something like this. I told you, I was like, I don't know. I want to thank Tarek Bibi for doing it as well. He is a good healer friend of mine who is also an MC who has music as well. Thank you so much for encouraging me to do this, and I think that all of the stuff that I offer on the website, that it can definitely help you. So if you want to, you can go to TruthSeekah.com, Truth SEEKAH, and I am available for appointments. You can type in the promo code Kelli, Kelli, to get a discount. This is only for Kelli and the Raw viewers. I'm not promoting this on social media or anything like that. You can on your page. We'll promote it through you. So once you check out in the store, you type in Kelli, you will get a discount. The spiritual healing services are, I believe it's 25% off, and you will get a good discount. Well, I'm sorry, it's $25 off. I'm sorry. So it is available. It is something new that I'm just stepping into, but I'm getting a lot of great feedback from people from it already, and it is shaky ground. I am a little nervous, but this is what I've been led to do, and I've been scared to do it, and I've been healed, and I want to heal people, and I have the ability to do that. So thanks so much for encouraging me. So TruthSeekah.com, type in Kelli in the promo code whenever you check out, and you will get a discount for the healing services on there. And I have all my music and everything else available too. So I will promote a discount on everything. So everything will be discounted. I will go back and do that.
Thank you so much. That is spectacular, and it worked. It's so much time has passed. I can't remember what was wrong with me that day, but you were just saying I'm really good at healing people, but I'm not sure if I can do it at a distance. I don't have any practice doing it at a distance, so I just said, okay, this and this is hurting on me right now. I think it was my back or my neck and shoulders or something that it was hurting, and I said, well, just practice on me and experiment. And almost immediately, I forgot what you did. You did something, and then immediately it was like everything relaxed. The pain went away. So it was like, hey, you can do this at a distance. Mm-hmm. That's about all you needed, I think.
Yeah, it really was. It really was. But I don't, and that's what I was saying. Like, a lot of times you don't touch anybody anyway. Everything is at a distance. And even in church, a lot of people, they say, stretch forth your hand to pray for this person, and the person's on the other side of the congregation, and you're just sending that thought and that attention, and you're creating, you're seeing it in your heart, and you're confessing it with your mouth, and it's becoming reality, and that's what we're doing. So thanks so much, and so this is where we're at. Thanks so much for having me, and encouraging me to do that, because I wrestled with it. I've wrestled with the money changers in the temples, and I've called out. I've stood on street corners prophesying against the prosperity pimps back in the day, whenever Spirit had me out there doing that. And for me to now, like, okay, now you're charging for a spiritual service or whatever. So there was this war going on or whatever. But yeah, biblically, it's definitely biblical. And so thanks to all my healer friends who are encouraging me as well. And it's my vision to help you and to see you walk in true freedom and true victory. I think it's all of our God-given right to do that.
And you're the kind of person, when you have money coming in, this money is going to go towards your light bill and towards your family and improving your family's status, and it's going to help you to promote your music and put it out there, and that's a whole lot different than the ones that you were preaching about, who want an 8th or 9th car and a third vacation home. Mm-hmm. We're on a completely different level, money-wise, than that.
Yeah, but I mean, I made the connection. I think a lot of other people would too. So it's good to address it right off the back, and have a peace about everything that you do. So that's 101 with moving in anything spiritual. You got to have a peace about it, so that you follow where the peace is. So if I had a check in my spirit that I don't know if I should do it, I'm going to wrestle with God and I'm going to get to the bottom of it. Like, what's going on? What have I learned? What have I dealt with that's making me feel this type of way? And understanding, once you come into the knowledge of the truth, that it is okay to receive monetary, reward or gain for a service that you're offering. This is where we are. And so thanks so much for everything you're doing. I offer services such as dealing with, past life regression. We deal with dream interpretation, people who are having the same dreams over and over and can't make any sense of it. Energy healing, distant healing, removing negative energies, demonic energies off of people. This is my forte. There's a lot of stuff that we deal with, but the forte is really with those energy blockages, dealing with negative energy on people, harassing spirits harassing people, nightmares, things like that. So we've got a lot of testimonies about how it's definitely helped people at this point. So that's encouraged me in my faith, and know that what I believe is coming to fruition. So thanks so much again, Kelli.
Yay! Thank you for being on, and I hope you are coming on again in the future, because I know that they want you back. Every time you come on here, I just get messages for days about how it impacted their life, and they love your music. So I hope to have you on again, most definitely. So guys, if you like TruthSeekah on the show, make sure you write this in the comments and let him know that you want us to have him back on the show. Put some suggestions for topics that you would like to hear. So I guess we are going to be saying goodbye for now. And this goes so fast, doesn't it? We just start talking.
Yeah, time flies when you're having fun. I think it started off a little slow for me, but there were some things that we got into that the spirit was definitely speaking. So thanks so much again. So.
No, yeah, I felt that. You started getting passionate. I was like, well, okay.
Yeah.
I'm just gonna sit back.
I didn't know we were gonna talk about it, and I haven't talked about it in a while. But once certain topics on this, that's what I'm passionate about. This demonology and dealing with these demons and angels, and once it becomes a part of my reality, and it's real. So it's not only real for me, it's real for a lot of people. So I'm passionate about it.
Absolutely. Now here's a resource for you guys, and affordable, because you got money off of Ascension. So here's a place that if you're having a hard time doing this yourself, you can go see TruthSeekah and get the help that you need. So all right, guys, we are going to wrap this up, and I guess I will see you on the next video. Bye.